Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Wise Guys at the Sewing Basket in Plymouth, Wisconsin. I'm Elaine. Cheryl's behind the camera today. We're going to be talking about making a simple little zippy pouch today. Lots of people are afraid of sewing in zippers. This process is really easy. And we're going to use this sample. We're going to make one just like this, but once you know the process, you can change the size, do anything that you want with it. The reason it started this size is because it's very convenient for a layer cake. 10-inch pre-cut squares. Usually these come in packs of about 40. It takes 4 squares to make a zippy pouch that's lined, and so you can get 10 zippy pouches out of a pack like this. They make great gifts for Christmas, for friends and nephews, nieces, cousins, all that fun stuff. It's a great way to make just a quick little project, a nice gift for somebody. So a 10-inch square finishes to about this size. I'm going to just show you a couple other little samples. This one is the exact same size, only when it was done, instead of leaving the corners square, I went on the inside and just pulled the corner in and did just a classic box corner. And this is nice if you want to make like a makeup case. These sit and they'll sit open. Can you see that okay, Cheryl? And they just they have a flat bottom to them and they kind of sit open. So that's a nice size for a makeup case or toys for kids, that little cars and things like that to take along in the car. And then this one is a little bit bigger. This is 10-inch squares, but I cut 2-inch strips, sewed them together, added an extra strip, and this is exactly the right size for an iPad. It just slides right in really nicely, and these are all lined as well. So once you know the process, you can make them any size that you want to. We have a small pattern. I'm going to go through everything here on the video, so you don't need a pattern, but if you feel that you do or you want a pattern, it is our Zippy Pouch pattern, and it is on the website as a downloadable for $1.99. I posted a picture just a few minutes ago on Facebook. You'll see a picture of, I think it's these two, and on that post is the link for the connection to the downloadable page. So when we start, we need a couple things. This is, from now on I'm going to kind of be down this way, so you'll be looking at this rather than at me. Is that centering good, Cheryl? Yep. Okay, so this is just Pellon 911 fusible interfacing. You'll need 2 10-inch squares of this. You will need 2 10-inch squares for your lining, and you will need 2 10-inch squares for the exterior of your bag. These 2 pieces of interfacing go on the back of what's going to be the outside of your bag. So this is these 2 pieces are my outside, these 2 pieces are my lining. No interfacing on these, interfacing on these. And this is just fusible. When I say fusible, you know that means you can put it on with an iron. The bumpy side is the side with the glue on it. That goes to the back of your fabric. When you press it, flip it over and press from this side. You don't want to put your iron on the interfacing, but that will fuse the interfacing to the back of your fabric. So I've got my 2 pieces for my lining and my 2 interfaced pieces for the outside of my bag. Set these over here. The next thing I'm going to do is take those 2 pieces that are my lining and the front of my bag. I'm going to put them face to face, and I'm going to cut off a 2-inch strip. Just right here, cut off a 2-inch strip. Miraculously, it's going to look like this. So I've got my 2-inch strip. This again is interfaced. This is not.
So one is the outside, one is the inside.
Correct. The outside of my bag is interfaced. The inside is not. So those are my pieces. I'm going to set the bottom portion, and actually I'm going to just set this right here. So these are this piece and this piece. Okay? Set these aside for a minute. And these will go face to face, and my zipper will go in between. So when you go to sew your zipper on, I'm going to take these two pieces. This is a 14-inch zipper. This is only a 10-inch bag. This is real handy. These pieces will be clipped off. So I'm going to take the top of my bag and I'm going to put it on top of my zipper, right side of my bag to the right side of the zipper. I'm going to take the lining piece and I'm going to put it like this. So my zipper is sandwiched between this, my zipper, and this. Make sense to everybody? I hope so. Yay! Okay, and then I have a couple choices. I can use my little Wonder Clips and clip along there and hold everything in place. Or my personal favorite is double stick tape. This is 1/4 inch, it's wash away, and it's double stick, meaning it's sticky on both sides. So I'm going to take my piece of tape and I'm going to run it along the outer edge, not near the teeth, but the outer edge of the zipper. Just stick it on there. It doesn't have to be the entire length. It doesn't have to be perfect because, as I said, it's wash away and it will go away later. But I'm going to stick that down and then I'm going to peel the paper away. That leaves the sticky on the zipper. Okay.
Yep.
Sticky is here on the zipper. I'm now going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it right to it. And I'm just lining up the edge of my fabric with the edge of the zipper. Okay? And I'm going to go on the other side and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And again, you see I don't go all the way to the end. You can if it makes you nervous and you want it there, but you really don't need it. I just need it to be held in place. Again, peel off the paper. Easier said than done sometimes. And then this piece goes face down and I line it up here edge to edge, push that down. So what I have right now is a sandwich. My lining, my zipper, and the top of my bag. Okay? So I am going to go to my sewing machine. We're air sewing today. I'm going to talk for just 1 second about your zipper foot. This is the most common zipper foot right now. You can actually clamp on to either side. This is the shank that would be on my sewing machine. And I can just snap it in place. Okay? Or I can snap it on the other side. The bottom of the foot has a ridge on it. That ridge walks right along the edge of your zipper teeth. So it really is hard to make a mistake with this. The only thing you have to do is be sure that your needle fits in the hole. So you have to pay attention to what side you're stitching on. So if I'm going to stitch this, I'm going to set my needle to stitch on this side, and I'm going to, can you see that okay, Cheryl? I can actually feel the edge of this pushes right up along my foot. So I set my needle here, and I stitch, and I just stitch right along there. You can feel it. That bottom of that foot actually has an indentation for the teeth on the zipper. So I'm going to just sew right along there, and it's going to sew pretty close to your zipper. And it's going to look like this when it's stitched. You can see my black thread there. Okay, so that zipper foot just rode right along that edge. Okay, I open it up and I press it. So now I have my zipper in place, the outside of my bag, and the lining of my bag. So that's the top portion of my bag. The next thing I do is I take my 2 lower pieces of my bag. These are the ones that I cut earlier. I can use these. So this, I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side, but I need this to be on the bottom portion, this being the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put my tape, again, right across here, and I am along the outer edge of the zipper, not close to the teeth. I'm going to peel off that tape. Okay. And now this one, I need it to be face to the zipper. So I'm going to line up this edge and I'm going to just put it face down. And I'm going to stick that tape right along the edge of that zipper. So when this is sewn, that's going to make my bag. Okay, so that's my front piece. And again, my tape. This tape, as I said, is wash away. You don't have to wash it away. It doesn't hurt anything to leave it in there, so it's not like when your bag is done, oh my gosh, I have to wash it to get that out of there. It'll stay in there until you wash it. If you never wash the bag, the tape will never go away, but you don't see it. So now I've got this piece on. I tape this side. Now this piece goes here. So again, lining up that tape. So when I open this, that's my zipper. But right now, the two of them, my zipper is sandwiched in between those teeth. Excuse me, zipper sandwiched between the two pieces of fabric. I'm going to take my thread and my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch that. And that's going to attach the bottom half. And then I'm going to open it up, and again press it, and it's going to look like this. So my two top pieces are my interfaced pieces. My two lining pieces are not interfaced. I'm going to give this a good press, and then if you want to, you can go back and do an edge stitch, just a real close stitch to hold that in place. You don't have to. Oop. Yep. Okay. And again, I use my zipper foot for that. So once this is pressed back, I'm going to line up my foot, and actually I'm going to stitch. This time I want to be close to the zipper. Again, I'm going to line it up. This is going to ride right on the zipper teeth, and I can edge stitch. You can also do that with a regular foot. You don't have to use your zipper foot, but that little edge on that foot makes it stitch nice and straight. So edge stitching is optional on both of those seams. On here, you can see I did it a fair bit further away with the red thread there. Whatever you like. It doesn't make a big difference one way or the other. So that is the front of my bag with my zipper inserted. And that, when it's sewn together, looks like this. So I'm all pressed, edge stitch there, okay? So that's the piece we just made. Now I go and I grab my back piece. My back, again, is the one that has the interfacing on it. I want to open my zipper about 3/4 of the way, and I use just a little piece of tape to hold my zipper together. Otherwise, this can kind of spread apart while you're working. So I typically just put my zipper as though it were closed, and I put a piece of tape on it just to hold it so it doesn't split. So remember to open your zipper, or you're not going to be able to turn your bag. So this is the front of my bag. This is the back of my bag. They go face to face. Okay. I stitch all the way around all 4 sides, totally closing the bag. Okay. Now this seems funny, but the next thing you do is flip it over, and now this is the lining of my bag. This is my lining side. Again, this has no interfacing on it, so this is my inside lining, and I lay this right on top of here. Okay, so I've already taken this, I've sewn all the way around all 4 sides, so it's completely closed. My zipper is open. I grab my lining, I lay it right on top, and I do the same thing. I sew around 4 sides, but now I leave a hole. And if you remember our little tip for, just grabbing a marker here, when we sew around, we do a little bit of an angle. So when I sew, I come and angle out. So all around 4 sides, angle out. Those 2 angles will help me flip the bag. So I've got that completely sewn around. So it looks like this. Same thing. Here's my lining piece. Excuse me, my interface piece. Here's my lining piece. Here's my hole. You can see with the black thread, I left the hole in the bottom. I trimmed my corners, just took my scissors. You got to be sure not to cut through that point, but I just trimmed a little bit of bulk away. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and reach inside and go up to those corners and push them in. And I'm going to turn the whole bag. It's easiest to grab that outer corner and pull it through. Okay. And I'm going to push those out real nice. I'm going to use my point turner, which I forgot to grab and bring over here. But use my point turner to get those corners out nice. But oh no, my bag is inside out. My zipper's wrong. Oh no, what do I do now? Well, first thing, I'm going to stitch this little seam shut. I'm going to use a little tape. Okay. Put that on there. And take that off. Okay. And I can either stitch that by machine or by hand. I usually do a little whip stitch. Sometimes I'll tell you if I'm really lazy, I just leave the tape in there. Uh-oh. So here I am. You can't wash it or your bottom falls out. So here I am. My bag is inside out. That's the trick. Now you turn it a second time through the hole. And this is the lining. It takes the lining to the outside. And the first time you do it, it's like, oh no, my zipper's inside out. It's a double flip.
We got little faces.
Little happy faces
yeah.
popping up. It's a pretty cool process. It is done the way that embroidery in the hoop projects are done. I hadn't seen it done on a sewing machine before, but it's like, I don't need a hoop to do that. I can do it that way. So you've got, just in review, you've got your inside and your outside, each stitched to your bag. Then your fusible piece. So this is my fused side to fused side. Remember to open your zipper. Sew all the way around.
And then at what point do you trim the zipper?
At the very end. Sorry, I didn't. Once you're all sewn, all four sides are sewn together, then you're going to trim your zipper before you do your first turn.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Okay, and I'm going to sew around, and then I'm going to take my lining fabric, lay it on here, sew around, leaving a hole. After I've sewn, that's when I'm going to trim my zipper off. You can use, these are just vinyl zippers. If you have a metal zipper, be really careful with your scissors. You don't want to nick your scissors. And also, if I have a metal zipper with metal teeth, I sew up to the teeth, I do a lock stitch, I go over, I do a lock stitch. I do not sew over a metal zipper. I do sew over a vinyl zipper. All right, so here's your finished bag. Again, 4 10-inch squares, easy to do. So I started playing with that. I showed you these couple. Had some leftover pieces. It's great for sewing scrap together. Again, put a box corner in here. Then I thought, let's see how little we can make it. The piece above the zipper was 3/4 of an inch. Way too small. It was really hard to get that to turn. I wanted to have just a little tiny one. That's pretty small. Leave yourself at least an inch above your zipper. Otherwise, it just makes it really tough to turn. The other thing you can do, as I did in this one and this one, rather than just the Pellon 911, I used a piece of fusible quilt batting. So it's a great place to use your scraps. If you don't have fusible batting, you can use 505 spray to hold it together, or Quilters Select Quick Fuse to hold your pieces together. If you want to quilt them, you can, but you don't have to. And they're great to embroider on. Typically, I embroider on the square before I put the bag together. It's just much easier. So that's all there is to a Zippy Pouch. Any questions out there? Don't think so?
Nope.
Pretty well set. It's a pretty simple process. Again, the link to the downloadable pattern is in the previous Facebook post. And just a reminder, tonight at 6:30, we've got our live shopping event. This is one of the quilts we're going to be talking about. This is a 3-yard quilt. 1 yard each of 3 fabrics, and you get a nice size throw quilt. We're going to be doing fabric bundles, fabrics, patterns, and it'll probably take, I'm guessing, about an hour. We've got lots of fun bundles of fabric that are already pre-coordinated for everybody. And other than that, we will see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.